The moment that red paint splashed all over our HOA president's face, I knew our nightmare was finally turning around, after months of her breaking into our home for fake dues. But what happened after that paint hit, no one in Miami was ready for. Karen's scream echoed through the Miami heat like sirens. She stood frozen on my porch, covered head to toe in red paint, bright, dripping, shocking. My wife, Emily, peeked through the blinds, whispering, "Did it work?" I nodded slowly, watching the HOA president tremble in disbelief at the sticky mess on her cream blazer. Karen had broken in again, claiming community inspection rights. But this time we were ready. The paint trap wasn't just revenge, it was proof. Neighbors gathered, snapping photos. Karen's face turned crimson, matching the paint, her composure cracking as she realized she'd been caught red-handed, literally. I felt no guilt. She'd crossed the line too many times, trespassing, harassing, demanding $100,000 in fake HOA dues she invented. Before we go on, please, where are you watching from and what time is it right now? I want to see how many families, parents, and neighbors are feeling this story across the country tonight. Your comment helps this message reach more people who've faced unfair HOA rules too. Emily whispered, "She'll sue." I smirked. Then she'll have to explain why she was breaking into our house again. As police cars turned onto our street, I exhaled. It was over, or so I thought. But Miami drama never ends easily. Karen's eyes locked on me with fury as the officer helped her up. "You'll regret this, Robert," she shouted. I didn't respond. Not then. But deep down I knew this wasn't the beginning of the end. It was the end of the beginning. The red paint had spoken louder than words, but I underestimated how far HOA power could reach in Miami's sun-drenched chaos. Months earlier, Palm Vista estates had seemed like paradise. Turquoise pools, gated drives, and palm trees bending like dancers in the ocean breeze. Then came Karen, president of the HOA, self-appointed ruler and destroyer of peace. Her motto? Standards above all. Her target? Me and Emily. She first approached us with fake charm. "Welcome to the community. Just remember, dues here are serious. $100,000 a year keeps Palm Vista perfect." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. The next week, we got our first notice of violation. Our mailbox paint didn't match her approved shade. When I refused to pay, she began sneaking around, snapping photos, measuring grass height, even knocking when we didn't answer. Emily begged, "Let's move." But I refused to be bullied out of our dream home by a woman with a clipboard and a superiority complex. She began calling me at work. "Mr. Langford, the HOA doesn't tolerate freeloaders." Her voice was always sweet but threatening underneath. That's when I realized Karen wasn't enforcing community rules. She was running a private empire fueled by fear. I promised Emily, "We'll stop her. No one extorts us again." But I had no idea just how far she'd go to keep control. And by the time I found out, she'd already broken into our home for the first time. It was a humid Tuesday morning when Emily called, her voice shaking. "Rob, the front door's wide open." I sped home, heart pounding, and found muddy footprints across our living room. Nothing stolen, just papers scattered, drawers opened. Karen stood outside, pretending to check for structural issues. She had the audacity to say, "This is HOA business, Robert. Routine inspection." I clenched my fists. "You entered our home without permission." She smiled coldly. "You owe us. The HOA has rights when dues are unpaid." I recorded everything. She laughed at my phone. "That's cute. You think anyone will believe you over the HOA president?" Emily burst into tears that night, terrified to sleep. We installed cameras, alarms, motion lights. Still, Karen found ways around them. She started showing up during work hours, claiming noise complaints or yard inspections, always with fake documents. One evening, she left a note on our door, "You're making this harder than it has to be." It felt like a threat. That night, Emily whispered, "She's obsessed. It's not about money anymore." And she was right. Karen wasn't enforcing rules. She was asserting dominance. But I decided the next time she crossed our line, she'd regret it. Soon, we weren't the only ones. Neighbors whispered horror stories, late fees, surprise, liens, even property seizures by Karen's fake legal letters. Everyone feared her. She'd ruined reputations, spread rumors, and turned the HOA into her personal courtroom. Emily tried to rally people, saying, "We can vote her out." But they all backed away. "You don't understand, she knows everything about everyone." I checked the bylaws. Karen had rewritten them. Permanent presidency unless removed by unanimous vote. Smart. Evil. At the next HOA meeting, I confronted her. "These dues aren't legal." She smiled before the crowd. "Then take me to court, Mr. Langford." The audience stayed silent. She'd broken them with fear and paperwork. That's when I knew exposing her in court wouldn't be enough. She had to be caught doing something wrong. Something undeniable. Something even her lawyer couldn't spin. Emily and I spent nights planning. If she breaks in again, I said, we'll catch her red-handed. Emily added softly, maybe literally. And with that, our quiet revenge plan began. But we had to wait. Patience was our only weapon now, and Karen's arrogance was our greatest ally. We prepared for weeks. Cameras hidden in the vents. Sensors in the porch. And the final touch, red, washable paint rigged above the doorway. Emily hesitated. "Are we sure this isn't too far?" I kissed her forehead. "Not as far as she's gone." Every night, I'd check the setup. A bucket connected to a motion wire, simple but perfect. One wrong step and justice would fall. Karen had grown bolder lately, snooping around, tapping windows, even showing up at midnight, checking for unauthorized lighting. Our chance came on a Sunday morning. We left for brunch, but parked nearby, cameras rolling. 15 minutes later, she appeared, clipboard in hand, trying to unlock our door with a master key she wasn't supposed to have. The wire snapped. The paint poured. Karen froze as crimson liquid splashed down her shoulders. Emily gasped beside me in the car. It worked. We had every frame, video proof, timestamps, the trespassing, everything. I whispered, "That's it? Game over." But I didn't realize how public it would become. Because within hours, the footage spread across the whole community. By evening, our security video was everywhere. Neighbors shared it in group chats titled Karen's Scarlet Fall. Even local Miami news caught wind. HOA president caught trespassing, drenched in red paint. The story spread faster than sea breeze. Emily couldn't stop laughing. She wanted attention, now she's famous. Karen, however, wasn't amused. She called our lawyer, threatening defamation suits, property seizure, emotional distress claims. I calmly replied, "You trespassed." The next day, HOA members resigned in panic. Her empire was crumbling, reputation shattered beyond repair. But Karen wasn't done yet. I received a letter that night. "This isn't over, Robert. You'll pay for humiliating me." Emily grew nervous again. "She's dangerous, Rob." I reassured her. "She's finished. The world saw who she is." Still, I checked the locks 3 times that night just in case. Because people like Karen don't lose gracefully, they implode. And I knew her explosion was coming. 2 weeks later, our mailbox exploded, paint, not fire, but symbolic. Red paint splattered across our car windshield, spelling, "Pay up." Police arrived, shaking their heads. "We can't prove it's her," the officer sighed. "Unless you catch her again." Emily trembled. "She's unhinged." I nodded. And desperate. Karen had lost her HOA title but not her obsession. Rumors said she'd been evicted, but her car still drove past our gate nightly. I started sleeping near the door with a bat. The red stains on our driveway served as reminders. Justice sometimes invites madness. Emily tried to comfort me. "We won, Rob." I whispered, "Not until she's gone for good." That night, our motion sensors pinged. I rushed out, heart racing, only to see Karen's car speed away. The next morning, I found a final note on our porch, "See you in court." I smiled grimly. Court was exactly where I wanted her. The courtroom buzzed like a hornet's nest. Karen walked in wearing white, pretending innocence, Her lawyer puffed up beside her. Our footage played on the screen. Her breaking in, the paint, the trespass. The jury's faces said everything. Her defense argued, maintenance inspection. The judge raised an eyebrow. At 7 a.m. on a Sunday? Karen stammered, eyes darting. Emily squeezed my hand. It's over, she whispered. We won damages, modest but symbolic. The court ordered her to pay us $50,000 and stay 200 feet away from our property. Karen stormed out, eyes blazing. You ruined my life, she screamed. I replied calmly, no, you painted it yourself. The courtroom chuckled. Even the judge smiled faintly. Outside, reporters waited. How do you feel, Mr. Langford? I said, clean. Finally clean. But as we drove home, I noticed something chilling. Karen's car parked at the end of our street again. Justice was done on paper, but peace? That was something Miami rarely granted. Weeks passed quietly. The neighborhood relaxed, laughter returning, fear fading. Palm Vista began to heal. Emily planted flowers by the porch, ironically, red hibiscus. New beginnings, she said, smiling. But I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Karen's house sold, but rumors said she'd moved just 2 streets away under her maiden name. I reinforced our gates, added new alarms, and finally learned to sleep again. One evening, I watched the sunset bleed into the ocean, the same shade of red that had once covered her. It wasn't revenge anymore, it was closure. Emily leaned on my shoulder. Think she'll ever come back? I smiled faintly. If she does, I have more paint. We laughed, not from spite, but relief. We'd taken back our peace. And in Miami, that's worth more than $100,000 in fake dues. A year later, a letter arrived. To the Langfords, it began. Inside, a check for $50,000 and a single sentence. You taught me something. Emily stared. She paid? I nodded slowly. Attached was a photo of Karen, volunteering at a community shelter, smiling genuinely for once. I didn't hate her anymore. Maybe the paint had washed more than her pride. It had cleansed her soul. I stood on the same porch, now repainted, remembering